My first musical memory would be my uncle playing Shake Your Booty. Was that the song? No, it was Outstanding by the Gap Band when I was 7. But the most significant musical experience would probably be listening to the Joshua Tree record. Well, I think part of it was listening to records that I love, like Depeche Mode, Violator, and listening to the Talking Heads, True Stories record, and REM, and a lot of different like rock bands. But then at the same time, it was Michael Jackson, and it was, watching him on the Grammys doing the moonwalk, and just a lot of things that just, would draw you into a zone where you would kind of wish you were them. My favorite album growing up was Joshua Tree. I think I wore that cassette tape out, actually. I was in 6th grade or something like that, and I had scalped Joshua Tree records, Joshua Tree tickets when I was in 6th grade. I'm pretty much like full-on entrepreneur at that point. And my friend kind of beat me down and said, "Are you kidding me? You actually sold 4 tickets to the Joshua Tree tour," and I made money. I was rich at this point because I sold them for like $400 a piece, and I was excited. And he kind of doused that fire and then gave me a cassette and said, "Go to your room, listen to this, turn off the lights, just disappear and see what happens to you." And I did, and I've never heard sonics like that. I've never heard music like that. I've never heard. I saw things. It was like it was a spiritual experience, but at the same time, it was just like cinematic. And from that day forward, it was like I got bitten, or, it infected me, and I just needed to do more in it and make something like it or do something about it, and it kind of birthed my reasons for making music. The first song I learned. I can't say that I know the first song that I learned because I kind of wrote all my own stuff. But I'd pick out Beatles songs, and I'd also spend time listening to, weirdly enough, like Right Here. Any radio song was on, I would try to pick it out. Like Right Here, Waiting for You was a big song at the time, so I learned that. And I learned, different things like that. And then there's some classical influence that I learned when I was young, but Beethoven and Bach and stuff like that. But that's pretty much all I learned. The first song I ever wrote was a song called "Where Did All the Love Go?" Where did it go? I don't know. It was just a song that I don't know where it came from. I just kind of, I think it was right around the time when there was a lot of like the Live Aid / USA for Africa, like there was just that kind of thing going on. And so I just got inspired by that and wanted to write a song, and that was my first song. And I can't say that I remember it all, but I remember the chorus. Incorporating humanitarian or altruistic things into music is really difficult. I don't feel like you can save the world in 3 minutes. Actually, somebody said that to me, and I had to laugh because I kind of feel like that's kind of what I've always wanted to do, was save the world in 3 minutes. But what it does, it gives you an opportunity. If you make music on a large stage, a world stage, you have a chance to voice your opinion on things or your hopes for things and change that you'd like to bring about. And I mean, I kind of look at it as an avenue, as opposed to like something that I will actually use specifically to change the world or save it. My mom and dad, when they found out that wanted to be in music, they were crushed, to say the least. I mean, they're educators. Most of my family, they're doctors or lawyers or professionals. You know, they work in, they're world leaders for that matter. But the first thing my dad said, I brought a advance check home, and I was so proud. I was like, I got signed. So I walked up, I gave my dad the check, and he held it out, and he kind of had it in front of him, and he looked at it, and then he looked at me, and then he looked at it, and he said, "They pay you to sing?" And I was like, "Thanks, Dad." And then he looked at me and he kind of said, "Well, you're no Ray Charles." Yeah, that's my dad. Thanks, Dad. Yeah. The first time I actually heard it recently is more significant than having ever heard it before. I was walking to a night spot in Los Angeles, and it was, you know, right around 12:30 or something in the morning. And I was walking up to it, and it's kind of an outdoor venue. And I walked up, and it was playing, but I didn't recognize it. And it was loud, and it was like borderline obnoxious, but exciting at the same time. And I heard it, my friends heard it, and they knew what it was, and they started jumping up and down, and there was just this moment where it was very like That Thing You Do moment where people are running down the street and they're yelling, "That's the song, that's the song." And I think it was the first time I'd ever shared it with anyone. I've heard it on my own, and some other people have said things in my ear like, "Oh, do you hear that?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool." But that moment, it was like me and my crew heard the record playing at a club, and it was kind of like, that's all right. I've never defined my own sound. I think, I hope never to define my own sound. I think that the best thing in the world is having a producer team like Chad from the Neptunes and Pharrell from the Neptunes, because they won't limit me, and they won't let me limit myself, you know? I think I've limited myself in history of my life because I've thought I wasn't one thing or I am something else, more in a lifestyle sense, and they have kind of just destroyed those barriers with me as for my friends, and musically they've just never held me back. Like I've always been like, you know, I want that in there. They're like, all right, cool. It wasn't like, you know, hey man, that's not you, or that's not really your sound, or do you really want to go there? Like they never have ever done that to me. They would literally, the way that we wrote this record was me just coming in with melodies and remembering something that I loved about a Bowie record, or something that I thought was cool in, you know, a Talking Heads record, but at the same time playing Fela and Femi Kuti, or like, you know, Hugh Masekela. Like it was just, it could be anything. We didn't really think about it like that. No, I mean, I don't think anybody knows when they've made it. If you do, then you're kind of narcissistic or something, right? I kind of feel like that I'll never really believe that I've made it, because at this point in time, even right now, where I have a great deal, I don't feel like I don't feel like I am as good as I should be. Does that make sense? Like I want to be better. I feel like I'm mediocre on the way to being good, and one day hopefully great. And even if I ever made it to good or great, I probably would think I was mediocre trying to be good, great, etc. But you know, I'm just hopeful that I get a chance to continue down the path and perfect the craft. And if I actually ever get to that point, I'll be surprised.